Maybe. Hello, everybody in Facebook Live land. We are the Podguyz Podcast, bringing it to you live as we do every Monday, 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. I am Tony Kaz.
Kevin Neary froze.
And Kevin Neary froze. All right. How about we have some new squares. We got Le Sparke over in the corner. He says hi. Big H, big I. Hi. And we got some other squares going on today. We got a full entourage of some comedic hopefuls and dreams and hopes and nightmares and all that fun stuff. Today we're joined by Brian Yox and Eric Preston. Thank you guys for coming on the show.
I know in New York you'll see him a cowboy hat. Let me tell you.
That cowboy hat is something else today.
Yeah,
like
comes in handy when I go to Midwest.
Yeah. How often do you go out that way?
Once a year.
Nah, that's not bad.
I still have a real job. I keep calling it a real job because someone signs my paycheck. When I start signing my own, that's when I'm doing it full time.
I feel that.
But I also get paid to do it. So technically, even if you got paid $5 or $500 per show, you're considered a professional comedian.
That's true. As long as you got paid once.
That's There's a lot of motherfuckers who shouldn't have gotten paid.
Oh, yeah.
That is true facts. Now, some of you may know Brian Yox. He is from Binghamton, New York, right?
Nope.
Outside Binghamton.
North of Binghamton.
North
More
of
near
Binghamton.
Syracuse.
Yeah.
If you were to take a bullseye and hit the center of the state of New York, that's where I'd be. The whole state, not New York City, just the state of New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
South of Albany.
Oh my God, Kevin, you're
Binghamton.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, that sounds pretty fair. He is a comic extraordinaire, gracing the stages between New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and sometimes once a year out west.
And Alaska.
I know you had a big show, 2 weeks ago? Or last week?
Yes. 2 weekends ago. Yep.
2 weekends
ago. Sold out again. 7th annual show, sold out. 7 shows, sold out 7 times. I'm not being cocky. I know I'm going to set up where I don't sell out, but I'm riding this ride. 7 years is like a sitcom. Sitcoms end after 7 years. I'm going to push this as long as I can get it. And I'm not going to complain. And I'm not talking about selling out like some of us are comedians here and all the rest of us have been to comedy shows. To me, 50 people is not a sellout. Even if it holds 50 people.
Yeah.
When I sell out, I'm talking 150 plus all the time. Closer to 200 every time. Now I get venues are bigger or smaller, but shit, I could get 50 people to show up for myself just between friends. You figure if you can get 25 people to show up and they got a significant other or a friend, there's 50 right there.
Yeah. We had
just for you.
Barely 50 down the Lithuanian club. Some guy ends up tried to heckle me, and then he says, "Hey, how old are you?" And I'm like, "Is this really going on?" All right. I said, "What are you talking about?" He says, "How old are you?" I said, so I was like, I looked at him. I said, "Buddy, I'm not your type. I'm over 18." So he flips the fuck out, right? And he's like, "Fuck you." And he's like, he's trying to get through some people. And I'm like, "Oh, shit. He's trying to rape me. He's trying to get at me. Sir, that's going to be $83 million if you want to rape me." All right. They say you can't put a price on things. Well, they did just this past weekend. Then got into it that way and explained how many rapes Jeff Bezos can have and still be a millionaire, which the number was 147 rapes, 147 times 83 million. Worst case scenario, he's still a millionaire. Then they'd be like, "Hey, what about those rapes that were terrible?" He's like, "Well, I'm still a millionaire and everything, but
Yeah, I never really understood that because he did go to court and lost like a year and a half ago, and he had to pay $5 million. Then they went after him for defamation of character, I think. So he had to pay $5 million for rape if he did it, but $83 million for tarnishing her character. Like his character wasn't tarnished either. Not to say that he's an angel, but That's ridiculous. How many women out there got raped and didn't get $1?
Yeah, like there should be a rape fund going on out there. You know, we should just pay a tax. We should pay a rape tax because, you know, these people are victims already.
Yeah, GoFundMe rape
throw it in
tax.
there.
Kevin, we do pay a rape tax. That's called your federal taxes out of your paycheck.
Oh no, that's a fuck you tax.
That's rape. Actually, that's tax rape. That is.
That's a voluntary. We all agreed on that. That was consensual. You know?
I didn't agree with shit.
Oh, no, you did. You were born here in America. Welcome to-
Eric's not
Then you
into
throw
getting
the Social
canceled right
Security
now.
tax in there, and that's just a raw dog tax. That Social Security
Yeah,
tax is a raw dog tax.
I did not agree.
How
to
bad do you
the
think
tax
people
being
felt
taken
when
out.
their life expectancy was like 47 and getting
I
fucking
know.
Social Security?
Yeah.
They're
They can
47
retire
years
at
old. They're like, I'm dying. When do I get this money? They're like, you get this when you're 65, you fucking starving bastard with all the here's some lead paint to huff on. Have some fun. You know, you like some cancer in
Let's
your
put asbestos in everything you make. Your glue that holds the carpet down. Let's put asbestos in your paint. Let's
Well,
put them in your
since
shoes
there's
and on
already-
your clothes.
since there's already plastic in our bloods, if you want to turn people into robots a lot quicker, you know, we're not looking metal. We're not looking cool metallic robots. We're looking, you know, melty plastic cheapo robot.
For the
bullshit,
cheap
you know?
Wish versions.
The
Oh, yeah.
throwaway versions.
The fucked up part is they had all that dangerous shit in all of their systems, and they're still living to their 60s and 70s.
Hell yeah,
My
they
people
are.
are never gonna fucking die.
Yeah,
Damn it.
but
Well, did you
Eric,
hear
they're
that the
living
life-
until their 60s and their 70s because their organs have adapted, but their brains are so fucking damaged that they're wearing diapers and we're told that a cruise ship was the best vacation. Eric, go on a fucking boat, you jerk off. You'll get to see a guy that kind of looks and sounds like Elvis. You like that idea, don't you? You fucking brain damaged mook. God.
Yeah, they
They're
told
fucking
Lexi one
Lee
time.
Joe Fearman singing on
Oh
the
my
Camp
God.
Carnival cruise lines.
I don't know. I heard the actually age expectancy rate's actually declining, and I don't know what's causing that. Lack of exercise. I don't know. What is it? The
Maybe
food
they're
we
just checking up on people more because, you know, they before not checking up on Grandpa could have been dead for 3 years and they knock on his door like he's just been sitting in that chair and don't anybody talk to him because he's angry. You know,
Yeah.
he's been fucking dead for 3 years. But maybe what I'm saying is maybe the accountability's been so much better.
that's where mothballs came from.
I don't
Who's
They
know.
the
changed the clothes on
Not to
Grandpa,
say that
put them in
whose
the
parents-
closet, and had to put some mothballs on them.
Yeah, whose parents here? I you know, not necessarily whose parents, but keeps mothballs in their house, in their closet.
Oh God, no.
Not now. When I grew up, my parents did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, whose parents, you know, kept mothballs in their closet?
Well, that's because someone like me, us blue collar or factory worker parents, or whatever you want to call them, the non-rich, the non-2%ers, we had drafts in our house. Like a moth could come in through the fucking wall, you know, where the wall and the seam go together. It'd go behind the asbestos siding or in a crack in a board. And then you got fucking box elder beetles and moths in your house. And you ever smush a moth when you were a kid on the wall? The parents would be like, no, don't smush the moth. It'd be a big smear, like a mark on your wall.
You know how hard that is to
I
clean
remember
up.
those days. Or you ever get a millipede or a centipede in your house? That's how poor I was. Holy fuck. I even had a bat in my house. A bat flew in the house somehow. I was 6 years old, dude. And I walked in the living room and I was so scared I pissed my pants. I was 6 years old because I looked over.
Bad, Brian. That's a fucked up thing to brag about. There are some
No.
people that count bats flying to their house as food delivery. The
That's
fuck is-
true.
Good boy.
Like, you mean to
Especially
kill
with a
me? Hold on now.
How do you think COVID came to be? Come on.
It did. It was.
No,
a thing.
seriously, I remember walking in the living room.
Bats
It's
and they
a
were fucking up.
nightmare. That's why I don't.
Chinese
That's what
delivery
I'm-
service.
That's why I'm scared of the movie Batman. That's why I'm scared of the movie Batman. Yo, I'm really scared of the movie Batman. I walked in
Batman
the
was
living room.
basically about what would happen if a rich child had dead parents. Like,
I
I
wanted
don't
to play
know.
some
Would he go to
cosplay.
therapy because he has every need necessary to do so? No.
Kevin,
no,
do we need to do the
Anyways, he
reenactment right
dress
now?
up in a suit. Uh-huh.
Do we need to do the reenactment right now?
Let's go live. Let's go live.
No, we're already live. We're already here.
Are we really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
Doesn't say live in the corner then.
It
You
should.
I don't know.
I'm watching myself. I'm seeing myself right there.
That's Bologna.
So I walked in the living room. Let me finish my story real quick. I walked in the living room when I was 6 years old, and my walls were like a lime green because it was the 70s, you know, the color scheme. And I used to wear them brown socks, you know, them ugly brown socks that have like the stupid sky blue stripe around the top and some ugly yellow look like baby shit around that. Yeah, that's the style.
Yeah,
back
you get
then.
them at the mental institution.
So I used to go in the bathtub and I'd play with my socks on and they'd get wet, right? And I used to throw them around and I'd throw them up against the tiled wall. We'd have like the linoleum you put on the floor. We were so poor. They put it up on the wall about 4 foot high. So it looked like it had a tiled half a wall. And I'd throw it up there to sock and it would stick. So when I walked in the living room that one time, I happened to look over in the wall like this. For some reason, it looked like there was a brown sock stuck to the wall. And my 6-year-old brain was going, I wasn't throwing socks around in here. So I walked up and my dumbass looked at it. And all of a sudden I got like 2 inches away from it. And it flew away from me. Holy shit. I dropped that. I couldn't even run away. I pissed my pants right there. It scared the piss right out of me.
For all of you who's just joining us right now, Brian Yox is telling us about his cum sock.
Yeah,
Hey,
I guess in the good old days, you just
day.
throw the cum sock at the wall because, you know, floors were important.
Hey,
And,
I'll tell you, I didn't discriminate in the day. I fucked all types of socks. I fucked your brown socks. I fucked religious socks. They were real holy. That's one time I fucked this dirty, nasty sock. It wasn't washed. Only to find out a couple weeks later, I came down with jock itch.
see,
So
this is probably where foot fetishes came from. I'm just throwing it out there, you know, where you're like, the smell of a foot reminds me of what I used to
I'll be honest
masturbate.
with you.
This is the Brian
I
Yox open mic right now.
I didn't discriminate socks, but I'll tell you right now, I really didn't care for the wool socks. Just way too much hair down there. You know what I'm saying?
That'd be the
Trim it
new
up a little
way,
bit.
you know, that's the new blue collar way to shame
Marky,
your
this is
children.
goddamn
If
gold,
you
by
rip
the
the
way.
sock that they're trying to fuck off their cock and they read made in China, you kids.
True. So, Brian, I know we need to address one or two things out in the news right now.
Go ahead.
But before we cut into that, we
Okay.
have to talk to Eric Preston. He is our gracious guest today as far as coming on the show. He is a Philadelphia comedian. If you guys haven't checked him out, you need to check him out in the Philadelphia area. I know he's been doing New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Maryland, you know, hitting the circuit, man. Fucking hard.
Yeah, I was so last year we also did I went on tour with a comedian named Clint Coley. I did Boston with him, New York, DC, Baltimore, Providence, Connecticut. We were kind of up and down the East Coast, just
Nice.
you know,
Tag
riding this thing out, and you know, him teaching me a lot of, you know, being out on the road. Had a good time with that. So, you know, just keep trying to move it on.
So everybody has a magical story, Eric, of how they started out.
Oh man,
What is your magical story?
oh man. So damn, what was it? Okay, so down here, I started comedy a couple years ago now. This was right after Hurricane Ida had kind of came through, and where we were living at the time, we fucking lost our whole goddamn house. Me, my lady, my kids, my dad, everybody, the whole thing just went. And my lady was just like, hey, you ain't got nothing else to lose. You want to try comedy now? I was like, fuck you, first of all. We're in this together. that was kind of fucked
wait,
up.
look, I got a bag of something for you. Oh, there it is.
So I'm gonna try and shit on your dreams in the process.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I went up to this little spot. It was still, you know, kind of at that time, we're like kind of getting towards the end of the pandemic. So there was really only one game in town, and it was this place. This fucking guy rented out built a goddamn comedy dome, put a bunch of sand on the ground, and got comedians to come through this damn place, and had people, you know, bring their own chairs and come watch comedy shows. And he was the only person doing fucking open mics at the time, because nothing was really open. So just, one up.
Yeah, everything in Philly was closed
Yeah,
up.
everything in Philly was closed still, so it really wasn't nothing rocking.
That's Eric. That is fucking hilarious. It's almost like everything has gone wrong with the world. They're like, "What do we do? All right, first things first. Get some sand in this area. Okay,
Yeah,
great. What are we gonna do? Everybody, bring your own chairs. We got some dick jokes to tell."
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was like right next to a fucking set of train tracks. So
And
like,
then what are we gonna do?
Comedy.
Probably some other censored jokes, but no one's getting canceled here. Everybody, just it just it
you
feels
can't cancel
like
nobody during the fucking pandemic, baby. We're out here. Like comedians couldn't even pronounce the name of the place we were in. It was a fucking little place called Royersford, Pennsylvania. And this dude just is like, yeah, there's a fucking loud ass freight train in the background going off while we're doing our sets.
Damn.
That's the worst thing when you're like right in the middle of a 9/11 joke and a low flying plane comes by in an outdoor show and you're like, oh.
No, yeah, it's just
of all time.
Things just weren't.
Hey, that's about as bad as Eric
too.
could get a 1-up. If Eric wanted to really submass his following, he could get a 1-up. You talked about the 9/11 thing. All he has to do is go down to the border, dude. There's like 3 million people down there he could perform in front of right there.
I mean, that would. I don't know how they.
You know what? It's better if you have a translator too. Just and I'm not talking sign language.
I don't know how I would do for my following, but I mean, I would definitely, try and work. I know a couple Spanish words. I think we can get this right. Okay, but I mean, like, you ever been heckled by a train? Like you're in the middle of
like was someone was it whistling at you, or was it just
a slow moving train where they're just like, you suck.
Yeah,
it's going that slow.
It's like, and then I fucked my wife.
That'd be a good video. Use the train effects for like the applause in your sets. Do the train. Yeah, that'd be a whole set right there, dude. You'd kill it.
It was awful, man. It was awful, but I just started doing comedy there, and haven't really stopped since.
Now, where are you based out of? Where are you originally from?
I'm based out of Philly. So
Philly? Born and raised Philly?
Yeah.
Oh shit. You an Eagles fan?
No.
Ah.
No.
Thank God.
Man, those Eagles fans, man, they are something else.
Steelers fan?
They are. I'm actually a Baltimore Ravens fan.
There you go.
But damn, those Eagles fans, man, they're ruthless, man. They don't care who
you
are.
All up in the stands packing.
They're not even ruthless in a smart way. All right,
they don't even do the tomahawk. They're just packing.
No,
Andy Reid was like, "Listen, guys, I'm still going to coach the team. My son just overdosed in the locker room." They're like, "Yeah, who's going to be the quarterback?" Like, what?
They don't care.
And then after he goes like 8-8, they're like, fire his ass, prick.
Hey, maybe we should have scraped some Parmesan off the carpet and gave it to him. He'd be back up and going.
That was the worst thing.
Part is they'll still blame you for anything.
Parmesan and black tar heroin. Not a good. I like the branding though. They're like, what should we call this heroin? Call it black tar. No.
Look like they eating black licorice all day.
I'm waiting for Sparky's sign because I feel like he has something really interesting to say.
Yeah.
Well, we need to preface something first.
That guy that did the paintings. The painting guy with the big fro.
Bob Ross?
Bob Ross. Yes. He is our Bob Ross. Yes.
Everybody loves Bob Ross.
He's going to turn it around and it's going to be a stick figure of Miley Cyrus.
I don't know about that. We may have to go back in time for this particular picture, Sparky. Where are we going? Here's the picture of all pictures. How Madonna got pregnant. Here comes a reproductive.
That's what they do. I guess that's how she got pregnant. They came in the sock so much and they threw it in there, and the vortex of Madonna's vagina sucked it in like a black hole. And eventually, 9 to 10 years later, a full-grown person comes out like, and starts fucking roaming around.
You would have thought it would be the black hole and nothing can escape. But no, it shoots something out like light.
No, it's got a reverse button on it, I think.
Do you remember that video she came out with, like a prayer, and they went ape shit when she kissed the black dude on there? It was so stupid. You remember he was the priest, It's like, come on. Even back then, the world was fucked up.
Women
I don't
were actually sucking on a black dick back in the 90s, and sure they weren't showing that on TV, but I'm sure it was happening.
I'm sure too.
Yeah. I've seen pornos, man, and I'm like, look at that. Now this is integration right now.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of interracial '90s porn.
The pain on the woman's face. I'm like, well, that's
not even in the 90s, like early 80s.
I thought they were trying out for cone heads too, dude. What are you talking about?
Brian's got a little something to share on the Grammys this year.
Oh my God! I'll let you guys. I'll bring it up, but I'll let you guys go around before I come back to me.
We are ready, sir.
What did you think about the Grammys? Honestly, like who won? What did you think about the whole thing? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that got said, and I got a little bit of bits on everything, but most important, the big thing. But I mean, how do you think it went down? Did you watch any of it? Catch any highlights?
I caught some of it. I don't, to be honest with you, I don't really watch the Grammys. It's one of them political award shows that is just based on, who's popular at the time. Not necessarily what it's supposed to be based on, like the best of whatever.
Okay, we'll keep it right there. I'll cut in, and then you guys can pick me apart because everybody's gonna hate me. You remember when Britney Spears was having issues? Yeah, I know. Remember when Britney Spears? Go ahead. She was having issues, and everybody did that video. Leave Britney alone. You remember them videos?
Setting Britney free.
Now it's like a Taylor Swift thing. Leave Taylor alone. All I see on Facebook, social media, TikTok is how everybody's bitching on how certain people are hating Taylor. Look, you guys are all childish. This is my honest truth. It's not opinion, truth about Taylor, about leaving her alone and everything. And everybody says she works hard. Here we go. Let's start with fact number one. Most people wouldn't know this. A lot of people think she's a great role model, smart, business-oriented, perfect role model. Daughters should grow up like her. Young women should be like her. Let's just state the facts. Most people didn't know this, but both her parents, before Taylor Swift was even born, was part of the 2%er club. You know what that means? They were in the top 2% of incomes, both the husband and wife, before Taylor Swift was born. In fact, both of them were in financing. Her father, Scott, actually went from being a broker to the vice president of Merrill Lynch before Taylor Swift was born.
Brian, Taylor's never struck me as she's grown up poor or anything, and she's also never they gave the little girl a guitar, and her mom toted it around the same way any mother would do to a child actor sort of thing.
Especially on her private jet.
Yeah, private jet, buses, Mercedes-Benz, all over the place.
Wait. You're hitting on the topic. See what you guys do. Copy my notes. So this is what I'm looking at. I'm like, okay, I like her music to a certain extent. Yeah, she's rich, famous. She's winning the game of that type of life. She is definitely killing the game of that type of life. But they play it out, this social media, this Facebook, all these people are playing it out as like she came from rags to riches. She's already set up. She already had the financial backing.
Spoon already, yeah.
She had the golden spoon. Now, you could find thousands of other girls that would be just as good, if not a lot better than her, that will never be seen because they don't have that type of 2% interest, so to speak. So that being said, her father was the vice president of Merrill Lynch, for Christ's sakes, when she became born. Here's something that really gets to me. I would honestly say, would it be more than reasonable to say that she grew up in a blessed and very privileged white childhood life? Would you agree with that?
Agreed.
I know a little bit about where she's from because she's not far. She's from not too far from where I was raised. So I know a lot about Taylor Swift from her high school. I know some people went to high school with her.
So here's one for you.
Here's the thing, though. What do you mean you like her music, Brian? What is it that you like about her music? The lyrics? Because I've brought up some.
No, wait. I'll bring that up. Because her lyrics is nothing, dude. All you have to know is 3 sentences. Every one of her songs is just 3 sentences that repeat itself. You don't even have to have music. She could be sitting there like me and you and going, it's me, it's let's add music to it. And then they just replay that loop. It's me, it's it's 3 sentences.
That's club version Taylor. I'm talking
song.
old school Taylor Swift here, where you have stuff like the song "You Belong to Me," and not the old song, but here it goes a little bit. You're on the phone with your girlfriend. She's upset. She's going off about something that you said because she doesn't get your humor like I do. I'm in the room. It's a typical Tuesday night. I'm listening to the kind of music she doesn't like. And you'll never know your story like I do. Here's where you know you're running into some trouble. When you see something called pre-chorus, because chorus just isn't enough. We've got pre-chorus, but she wears short skirts. I wear t-shirts. She's cheer captain, and I'm on the bleachers dreaming about the day when you wake up and find that what you're looking for has been here the whole time. And then here comes actual
Are you a
chorus.
Swiftie? You're like
This
a
is
Swiftie.
I'm fucking reading them, dude. I'm just saying. You think I got this shit memorized? Are you out of your
Kevin
mind?
officially
that
has
sounded
them.
like you knew it, Kevin.
She has
That
them
sounded like you
screenshotted
knew
to a
it.
screensaver.
So Eric went to school near her, or same school as her or whatever. So that's a good thing because this is going to relate. So that everybody thinks she's a good role model and everything. You know what? Maybe if you want that type of lifestyle, like I said, she's killing it. But I did some math. Do you know at the age, she was 19 years old when she was dating and banging John Mayer, who was 32 years old? She was 19, he was 32. 19, 32. You know she was fucking him because John Mayer fucked 1/4 of all the entertainment industry. He's got a big dong. Everybody knows that. He wouldn't have stayed with her if he wasn't hitting it. So 1932. That's about double her age. Dude, it's just 16 and 16 is 32. She's 19. He's double her age. Now, that's at 19. But public relationships she's had known to the public. She has had 12 boyfriends, and that includes Kelsey. So if she's had 12 boyfriends, including Kelsey, and she's only 33 years old, that's one dude for every year since she was 21 years old. Yeah. That's a great role model. I want my daughter to be fucking a dude every year. If that's the lifestyle you want, she's killing it. Role model, she ain't killing it, in my opinion.
Wait a second. So you mean that she was sexually active after the age of 18? That's not bad. She's sexually... Dude, kids are fucking when they're 8 now. You ask any priest.
Yeah.
You know?
All right.
He has it up on his big board, by the way.
What? The podcast. Yes. Hey, and just a little interlude. If you guys want some stuff for this show, go to what's the website? They can get
www.merchbooth.com.
There you go.
Podcast,
you go to merchbooth.com, you go to the podcast section, you scroll on down to the Podguyz Podcast. You can find your favorite t-shirts, long sleeve or short sleeve hoodies, zip up or non-zip up, thongs, socks, underwear, vibrators of various sizes. We don't
Ryan
really
Yax's cum sock.
Unwashed for the extra added value.
Unwashed. Still stuck to the linoleum.
So, you know what? They always talk about Taylor Swift gives back. Let's talk about Taylor Swift giving back. Let's take a real look at it. Mm-hmm. She gives back this. In 2023, the whole total year in 2023, she gave $1 million to the Middle Tennessee Community Foundation for the tornadoes and storm disaster that happened in Tennessee. $1 million in 2023. Okay. She's a billionaire right now. $1 million. Hold that thought.
I gave $2 million. What a bitch.
Hold that thought. Now, these are foundations. We all know how foundations work. Okay. Whatever you donate to them, the people that actually receive the final product after, not because they're usually nonprofit, after all overheads paid, they get maybe 20% of the 100% that gets donated. Everybody else is overhead. So that's a foundation. 20%. Now in 2022, she gave $1 million to the Louisiana flood disaster relief. Here's this foundation again, not to the people. She ain't there handing out waters made for a Photoshop, but $1 million to another foundation.
If you've ever been to
20% of that.
Louisiana, the whole you drop a glass of water, they give a flood warning. You know, like Louisiana is basically a bathtub basin.
$1 million for the whole year of 22. That's it, $1 million. And then I sit there and say again, she's a billionaire. For those that in this country right now that are under the age of 35 that don't know how to do math anymore, I'll tell you how many millions are in $1 billion. 999 million plus 1 million is in $1 billion.
Well,
999
so
million.
Brian, you bring up a good point there, but even a much more valid point. Why can't the government help these people out? And why are we relying on celebrities to do that kind of stuff? You know, why do we have to fucking go up to Santa Claus and say, you know what, Santa Claus, the one thing I need is the whole town flooded here. Can we get something going? And Santa's like, ho, ho, ho. Hell, I was fucking in it too. Holy shit. You know, the mask is off I know where you're coming from, man. She's got a truck full of money, right? And you know, it's like going to a starving country with a suitcase full of food, and you tell people to eat the banana peels that you're fucking throwing.
Kevin, you know who doesn't have a hard time finding money?
Who is that, Tony?
Sparky.
Sparky.
Yeah.
Sparky.
He's money every time he writes on that board. Let's see what you got, Sparkles.
Here you go, Miley. Take them so you can write another song to win another Grammy. P.S. Don't drop Travis. Okay, it looks like Taylor Swift. She is throwing Travis. Oh, look at that. Sparky's even got the score right there, 13-10. San Francisco winning. Yeah. I don't know if that's at halftime. Is that at halftime right there, Sparky?
No, that's a final.
Oh, a final 13-10.
Nice.
So somehow the
one thing I want to say is she did back in 2021 donate to a non-foundation, and I was impressed. She actually donated $30,000 to a GoFundMe European girl to help her go to college. She donated $30,000 directly to the one girl. 30,000.
Brian, you want to hear a sounding number?
Go ahead.
Did you know that Taylor Swift has actually generated an equivalent brand value while being on the NFL games since she has started dating Travis Kelce? Her staggering number of her brand value has risen $331.5 million. The Chiefs and the NFL. Now, that amount includes TV, highlights, social media, print, digital, going back to Swift's very first game, even in September.
Yep.
You know what? I'm taking this 100%
as a brand value.
Tony, I'm taking this 100% off of Taylor Swift's shoulders here. All right. If you ever went to a Taylor Swift concert or love her music, donate $1 to anybody in need. There. Now you have $300 million instead of her $1 million.
Bingo.
Her by donating.
So I don't want to hold the show up.
No, you're good.
On this topic too long, so I'm just going to keep going and finish it up a little bit, and you guys take whatever you want to talk about. I spent time on this, so anybody wants to fact check everything I'm saying, please go ahead, fact check it. And if I'm wrong, come at me at Brian Lee Yachts on Facebook, because that's about all I pay attention to anymore. Yeah, I'm a boomer. I mean, close to a boomer, first generation Gen Xer. So here's the biggest one. This is the biggest she's ever donated.
I like how Brian made the stereotypes kind of like a shortcut for him. Like, if you want the stereotype, I made it easy for you. Here you are.
Donation, the biggest one yet, was also in 2023. We probably all heard about it on the news. It wasn't really a donation. It was her payroll to her truck drivers, her production truck drivers. It equaled $5 million. Here's the math. There's 50 truck drivers she has. That's $100,000 a year. That's all they made. It wasn't a donation. That's the payroll, overhead expenses.
I don't know. I heard that she gave $1 million to each truck driver, but
nope. Go look it up. You can even find it on USA Today, left, right wing. It don't matter. But I encourage anybody to look this stuff up. So the best part is Her backup dancers, I don't know how many times she performs a week, but her backup dancers on average make $1,200 a show. $1,200 a show. I don't know if she plays out once or twice, but if she only did one weekend every weekend for 52 weeks with no time off, them girls are only making $64,200 as backup dancers. Now, if she's doing 2 nights a week, they're making $112,000.
Yeah, but in her
She's a
defense, she did not
billionaire.
make them. She did not make them eat vegetables out of the crotches of strippers the same way Lizzo did. You know.
That's true.
Yeah, and
That's
that's
true.
kind of
Now, not
total working
necessary-
conditions at that point.
Wait. So this is the not the stunning news, but Brian, you say the Taylor Swift gave $50 million in bonuses to the Eras Tour crew. So
Yep.
that's as in total. So she made $1 billion, but only gave out $50 million to her crew for whatever that whatever.
$5 million.
No, 5 million.
$5 million.
It's right here.
Divide
$50 million.
divide 50 people into 5.
$50 million.
Yeah,
Right
check a different
there.
website.
Bum,
Check
bum,
with-
bum.
$50
No,
million.
check a different website. Dead serious. Check a different website.
That's
You can go
ABC,
right to it.
man. That's ABC right there. What do you want me
Oh,
to
that's left-leaning bullshit propaganda. There is no real news when it comes to ABC, NBC, Fox is right-leaning, CNN's
Everywhere you go, man.
left-leaning.
$55 million. Boom.
I have not seen that.
There are the number 5s there though.
CBS
so maybe
News, ABC
a
News.
comma got slipped around here and there.
Anyways, moving on.
Anywho's.
She
This is
she seems to
important.
be. I think that the
Oh
reason.
my God, she paid somebody. She's a horrible.
No, let me close this out, please, because it's
Close
real
it out,
good.
close
Because
it.
Eric's gonna appreciate it. Eric's gonna appreciate this. I know he will because I feel the same way. So, just to let you know, you can look this up. Look it up right now, Tony. When we're talking, her fucking cat is worth $97 million.
That's
Her
actually
cat.
true. Yeah.
It's worth $97 million.
Insured.
So-
Insured.
Okay, so if you take, say you're right, it's 50 million and not 5 million. You take that 50 million and all the money that she's given back combined ain't even worth her fucking cat. Her fucking cat. Everything she's given back ain't even worth her fucking cat. Period. That's fact. Here's
I
one
think-
more.
All right.
She has pushed and also teamed up with Greta Thunberg. Yeah, saving the environment, going green. Let's just look at how green Taylor Swift is. I can tell you what she owns. A Porsche 911 Turbo, a Ferrari 458, I don't know if I'm saying it right, Italia, a Cadillac Escalade,
Never driven.
a Mercedes G63, and her fucking personal jet. Last I knew, none of them were green. None of them were saving the
Wait a
environment.
second now. Hold on. I got a bone to pick with you on that. She cannot drive 3 cars at one time, Brian. So by her owning more cars, she's taking more cars off the road.
I'll give that up to you, Kevin.
That's
I'll give
just-
that up to you.
That's just the plain math. And when people say that they want their daughters to admire Taylor Swift, I think of it more or less like instead of her fucking John Mayer, who was twice her age, I think of it more like Taylor Swift is at the top of her career. She did not rush into marriage or kids the way that some people do. And at that same time, she is now with somebody that makes her extremely happy and is handling herself with poise throughout the whole entire deal. So when people say, I want
agree,
my
Kevin.
daughter to be kind of like Taylor Swift, they're not saying, I want my daughter to suck the dick of John Mayer, or the mayor or something, I'm sure they're just, the aspects are a little bit higher. I'm just throwing it out.
That I appreciate that. So here's another one. Do you remember when she got all mad when she found out how much Ticketmaster and everybody was selling her concert tickets for? She went ape shit, said that wasn't right. Well, guess what? Right now, the average ticket, some are less, some are a lot more. The average ticket price for a Taylor Swift concert is $1,243.96. That includes the fees for the average ticket. Wow, she did a lot about that because it's been a year and a half now. I didn't see them prices coming down. Ooh. Giving back, doing what's right, thinking for herself. Now, this is the final part to wrap it up. Well, just a little bit. Where is it? Okay.
I respect the game, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She is kicking ass on the game.
Hell yeah, she is.
I'll end it with this simple math. 1%, only 1% of $1 billion is $10 million. Okay, 1%. And only half of 1% is $5 million. That's like cutting a fucking penny in half, a copper penny in half, and having $1,000. Would you give two shits if you cut a penny in half if you had $1,000 cash? Same math.
Did you
But
say
this is the
1% of
thing.
100 is 10?
No,
I mean, it's not the
said-
same because you had to spend some money on the person who cuts the penny and the knife. That's got to be a strong knife. You're cutting pennies with that.
So-
cut.
Wait, I'm
You
still
know where
stuck,
I'm going
I'm still
with this.
stuck on
Overhead
1%
cost.
of 100 is 10.
So other than the $5 million that she paid, or $50 million, or whatever the number is that she paid her own crew, what she
That's the
actually gave
1%,
back to the normal person is 1/5 of that half cut in penny. So take that half a penny you cut in half and cut it into 5 more slivers and take one little piece. That's how much she's given back, no matter how you equate it, no matter how you mathematically add it up. This is my closing argument right here. Taylor Swift should have never won Album of the Year. Beyonce should have. She had the most fucking Grammys ever by far and never
Whoa,
wins.
calm down,
They
Jay-Z.
snub her. They snub her ass. Jay-Z proved it out. It's a fact. Taylor Swift, what she should have won was an Oscar for being the fakest fucking puppet on the planet and having 3/4 of the world believing that she's a role model. I'm fucking done. There you go.
Well,
That's
hold on.
my-
Now, Alice Cooper's Greatest Hits came out. You didn't see that talked about at all this year. That was a great album, man. You know,
That's true. That's true.
And
There, that's my thing. I think that, look, Eric said it earlier. It's Jay-Z said it too, but I had to replay it. I'm white, so I had to replay it and look at it in a different, like 4 or 5 times. I'm white. I had to really digest the culture.
You just white,
you know what I mean?
white privileged your TiVo.
Yeah, and I'm admitting it. But Beyonce kicked ass with Grammy numbers and has not won one album of the year yet. What are they going to do? Wait until she's 76 and fucking dead and say, oh, we got the digital hologram of her when she finally wins? Taylor Swift's won 4 of them, dude. And if you didn't know this, Taylor Swift's only $94 million away from being richer than Oprah Winfrey. So you tell me how that
Oprah
works
did lose
out.
a lot of money. Oprah did lose a lot of money by making her own network TV show too.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
She did pay for the color purple.
But she did take a lifetime getting there and not 12 years of sucking cock. Period.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Whoa.
and you know, Oprah also harmed society on a bigger helm by telling parents so much of the time that they should take their children to psychiatrists, basically being an assistant pill pusher to pharmaceutical companies out there. You can't say we need better stuff for mental health and then be anti-pharma at the same time, because all that will happen is they're gonna give the kids pills. So Oprah introduced us to 2 doctors. Oz, bald with a mustache, and Phil, bald with a mustache, and Oz, of course, he wanted to run for PA State Senate the one time, so that way you can see the doctor versus fucking Frankenstein go into a debate where you could see one guy clearly must have had a stroke a couple months ago, and the other guy had something called the Dr. Oz show, which he turned that fucking debate into. And so yeah, we didn't get a good debate. We were just like, we got what we were told was going to happen. Like, listen, dude over there had a fucking stroke, and the other dude knows how to work a TV, knows how to be on TV and speak articulately all around. But Sparky, more importantly, has a picture to show our viewing audience, but our non-viewing audience, we're going to give you a little sneak peek on that verbally. Sparky, turn that flipper around right there. He's got the Dear Taylor, I need new dry markers and a whiteboard. If you send me $10, it would be appreciated. And
Hey, Sparky, put your PayPal info on there for.
Look at that. Yeah, Sparky's got a. It's Brian.
Sparky's got a
list
cash
of-
app right now.
Put the cash
not
app on
enough.
there.
I think what Brian Lee Ox is saying is Taylor Swift, your music, your fans, your whole entire life, it's not enough. We need money. We need more money.
You can
need
tell
you
that's
to-
Kevin with the pyramid scheme over on the side.
Yeah.
I just want to say, like I said, Beyonce, it should have been, it's all rigged. It should go to people that
I mean, Brian,
Far
I'm
well
old.
deserved.
I haven't heard any new
she earned
Taylor
it in her
Swift
own way
song.
playing the game. She's kicking ass at the game. That's all I got to say. But moral wise, you got to do what's right. I mean, I don't know. I got
haven't-
chewed
I
up on.
haven't heard-
I was talking like this on another podcast, and I had these feminists come in and start commenting. And they, you know what they said to me? They go, "Tell us one movie star, actor, or actress that does more than her for the normal people, not the high flute and 2%ers and doesn't make a big stink about it. I go, that's pretty easy. Gary Sinise, even Marky Mark, Tunnel for Towers, all them actors are not out there killing it, knocking it down. You can list a whole bunch of them.
I'm going to give you Gary
Way more
Sinise,
money.
no problem. That's one guy that's been doing a lot for veterans, firefighters, just everyday people for the longest time.
I mean, even Sean Penn, after he stopped beating on Madonna, he went overseas and started building huts for tribes and shit.
Yeah, he did it out of guilt, and then Mark Wahlberg almost killed a man, so he did it out of guilt too. You got a lot of guilt motherfuckers over there roaming around. So that's just my opinion. I don't know. But Gary Sinise kidnapped Mel Gibson's kid in the movie Ransom. So he's no angel either.
Yep. Nope.
It's today Jimmy Shaker Day. I actually got suspended from school for wearing a shirt that says, "Is today Jimmy Shaker Day?" And they're like, "Take off your shirt." I'm like, "Well, Vice Principal." And it just gets into.
So that was my take on the Grammys.
See, but that's kind of funny though, because there are other Grammy nominated artists who have won multiple Grammy awards, but still haven't won an Album of the Year award, including Katy Perry as well.
No,
She
she's
actually
done
has
now.
13
She ain't gonna win nothing anymore.
She has 13 Grammy nominations and wins under her belt, but never Album of the Year. Just putting that out there.
What'd you think of Miley Cyrus? And her flowers.
I don't know, man. She was definitely rocking the hairdo as if she is the best car salesperson on the lot right there. Just like flared back sort of thing, kind of like the lead.
She's like a
waitress at the
walking,
Denny's
talking
sort of
Saturday Night Live skit.
Like she is the girl that is going to get pregnant while working at the Waffle House sort of hairstyle right there. You know what I mean? Like they're saying right now that she did not thank her boyfriend Billy Ray Cyrus over her Grammy, which is terrible because Billy Ray Cyrus, I did some research there, Brian, you can fact check me, turned out to be her dad too. It's fucking up, right?
For some of them pictures she had, I thought she started looking like her mom, but then that night, I think I told you before, she looked like Jane Fonda.
I like how Taylor Swift goes to Travis Kelce's football games when she's like, "Hey, can you come to the Grammys?" He's like, "Babe, I would, but football."
Yeah.
I have to literally run the same route over and over and over again. I actually did a rewatch of old wrestling, getting off subject a little bit, but I did a rewatch. Remember the Undertaker Kane? And if people aren't familiar out there, Undertaker and Kane setup, right? They wanted to give the WWF wanted to give Undertaker a push, right? So here they brought Paul Bearer to betray him and take him on Mankind, aka Mick Foley's side character, whatever the hell, right? So they made this intricate thing where it turned out Undertaker tried to murder his brother Kane in a fire, right? So Paul Bearer says, you remember that, right, Eric? So Paul Bearer says, "He's alive," and it gave everybody the chills because it was delivered so well. And you think to yourself, wrestling has a really great storyline until it immediately doesn't have a good storyline. And I'll give you a great example, because when Kane comes out there, they're like, "Wow, what's Kane gonna do? Is he gonna sue him? Is he gonna murder him? No, he's going to beat him in a match." What? Yes. This has all been about wrestling. Hold on now. What? He tried burning you alive in a fire, and then he will pin him for 3 seconds. What?
Believe it or not, there's actually
there's
actually been some really big news.
Yeah, like, oh, you raped my wife and killed my brother. What are you gonna do about it? I'm gonna get you in the squared circle. Huh?
Didn't Vince McMahon just step down because he's in trouble, big trouble for prostituting chicks or something like that?
He likes to rape people.
He turned the whole state of Connecticut into Epstein Island.
Yeah. Apparently, Brock Lesnar likes to watch women pee.
Yeah, he does. Actually, speaking of the devil, right? So speaking of the devil, there's three things that just happened in the WWE. Sparky just drew the newest character that's been added to the WWE roster, Snidely Whiplash. The second one was that Vince McMahon stepped down because he's a rapist.
Yeah. He became Snidely Whiplash because of his mustache.
The Rock came back to wrestling because there's nobody else that's as entertaining as he is, and that's fucking
Boo,
sad.
boo that man.
Oh, good. We'll take opportunities from someone else because you're all fucking washed up. The Rock. Thank you.
He took Vince's
That's sad. You know what I mean? He's one of the. He's probably the biggest superstar from the WWE to go as far as he did financially and.
You know what? The man is a legend as far as what he has done with what he has done with. Now, I know he came from bad beginnings. He had a lot of things that went on in his life, and he turned it around into a financial gain, which is really cool. All right, good.
Winning that game too. Winning that game. I remember when he was just Rocky Maivia or whatever they used to call him. Nobody. Nobody.
It was, but his push felt a little bit more organic than I think it kind of stopped when the Kurt Angle idea was just immediate up there, and then WCW had a big drop off. All they had to do was copy and paste what the WWF was kind of doing. Like you had Degeneration X over here, you had the NWO. Cool.
Yeah,
you guys are playing. Yeah, you guys are playing in the same realm. You see how you're both getting ratings and making some money. That's great, right, guys? And then for some reason they wanted to, our good friend from the show here, Vince Russo. We've had him on, and Russo gave us an explanation. We couldn't air it, but he gave us his own explanation off air of what was going on at WCW, where he would give a pitch for Hogan to kind of hand down the torch. Now these interviews are coming out nowadays, but even 3 years ago when Tony ended up booking Russo, he calls him up. He's like, "Hey, Vince Russo, Tony Kaz here from the Podguyz Podcast." Fucking links him up, no problem, right? Like a champ. I guess Hogan never wanted to lose the belt, and I mean ever. And
never.
The way that the contract structures were like set up, where if you hired new talent at a certain rate, everybody got a boost, and then newer talent, everybody got a boost. And at that point,
it was based off of market sales, because if you sold merch, you made money. So if you got, let's say 10% or 20% off merch sales, and let's say $1 million, you would get $20,000 off of $1 million. So if you made $50 million, you get that 20%. So what he was trying to do was trying to get everybody to a certain amount of level, but Hogan in his contract never really allowed, not even that he stipulated that he was like he had a what the hell was it called, Kevin? It was like he got to write his own ticket.
So Hulk Hogan had creative control in his contract,
right?
And he had a marketing control in his contract, where if somebody ended up getting a 5% boost, he could take 1% residual from that point, and it was a rolling residual to the point where, if you do the math on it, I mean, WCW did. They were losing so much money off of the idea. Yeah. The only contract that they actually accidentally made money on was Macho Man Randy Savage, because Slim Jim said, like, well, here's our contract now. Now we have to pay for commercials here. And they're like, whoa, you mean to tell us that just because we did this? And it was just like a whoopsie daisy.
Do you guys remember Zeus? Do you remember Zeus in WWE?
Yeah, I remember Zeus. Yeah. The
No Holds Barred movie.
Yeah. Like, so if Hulk Hogan made it available for these wrestlers to get into movies and stuff, like if you want to lay the groundwork, he's not going to ever want to pass down the torch to anybody. If there's one match that gives you nostalgic goosebumps, it's Hogan versus The Rock, the first match off, and you're just like, they're both looking around, and you can kind of tell that Hogan, after playing the bad guy for so long, and people that are out there in the crowd, they're just like cheering, they're going Hogan, and they're cheering for him, and he's getting this like, hey, this is kind of good to be cheered again sort of thing. And he starts going at The Rock, and they're playing it by ear. They have no actual predetermination at that point in time. But still, that even after so long, you can't buy that a 55-year-old dude is going to beat up The Rock at a certain point.
Yeah.
But see, he had to turn heel 3 times in his career.
Hey, do you remember the first time he turned heel? Believe it or not, most people don't count him as being
Andre
a heel.
the Giant.
It's the WrestleMania 1 when he went against Andre the Giant.
Yep.
And you know what? There was no torch handing because no one even knew what the fuck WWE was because that's the first time it was really televised for most of us to see. And I just remember you saw this because we're going back before there was even WWE. I mean, there was WWF then until they got sued. But there was stuff like the Steiner Brothers, Legion of Doom, all that shit. That was all just one big set of wrestling. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere came WrestleMania. And there was outdoors. And I remember him picking up Andre the Giant, and I was like, holy shit, this guy's like Superman, and body slamming him, and that was like the torch passed. And I mean, Andre didn't do shit after that.
I think something that gets lost in the torch passing thing is at that point when Hulk Hogan passed the torch to Rock, it wasn't his torch to pass.
No,
Rock had already far exceeded what Hulk Hogan was at that point in their careers. He had already gone to Hollywood. He had already become one of the biggest stars in the WWE, along next to Stone Cold. He was already at the mountaintop. Hulk had no torch to really pass, and like at that point, like behind guys like the Stone Cold, behind guys like him, behind guys like Taker. Hulk for as big, like more nostalgic reasons than he was anything at that point. But it's not like
it's more like the retirement party is what that was. It wasn't torch passing. I mean, all them guys said
the top guy.
It kind of was because Stone Cold leaving, Rock being at the top dog, right? No one was really ready to say goodbye to Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know, there was still people were as ready to say goodbye to Stone Cold Steve Austin being the champ as they were with Dale Earnhardt stopped racing. You know, it just came suddenly, and then then it was over. And Brock Lesnar coming in, the whole new regime of wrestlers coming in there was it wasn't forced that much, but that WWF was like they weren't ready.
We were starting that transition.
Yeah, I think I'm more of Eric on this. I think I'm more of Eric on this, and the reason why is who was the heavyweight champion before the Giant? Was that not Armstrong? Oh my God, Bob Backlund.
Bob Backlund.
Bob Backlund wrestling Hulk Hogan would be like Hulk Hogan wrestling The Rock, just way more earlier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His time was up. Just like The Undertaker. Whoever thought The Undertaker was going to keep going, he's going to have to lose.
Well, that's the thing, though. The Undertaker had such a cartoonish walking as the dead man thing. You never really counted his age as a factor because he's just a walking dead guy.
But he never got the proper push either. Like, not to say he didn't get a proper push. He was always a fan favorite, but never had the big enough top billing to reach everything.
I disagree with you on that, Tony, because I don't think he was one of those characters that was so big. He didn't need a title to put him over. He didn't need, like, when Undertaker walked in the building, you knew
he was already the draw.
Yeah,
the Undertaker would get the Undertaker always got a push. If you notice, the Undertaker always got a push around September into Halloween time. Because then they could push the spooky theme, and then he'd always lose the title mid-November into Christmas. It's going into somebody else's hands.
But he doesn't need that for his character to be over. Like,
I agree. I agree with that.
100%
I'm just saying that
over.
he never had that push to stay up there.
Yeah,
it was always like a roller coaster of emotion.
I always think like he was one of the guys that was giving to younger talent and that was giving. Like, I'm already here. You need this to go forward, and I'm going to make you look as good as possible to pursue you. Like, he's already the guy in the locker room because we all know, like, even Shawn Michaels wasn't fucking with Taker in the locker room. Like, if he said stop, that was the shit, and everybody knows Shawn was walking around just putting his dick on the table and saying, I'm the fucking man. And Taker was not the guy in the locker room that was taking that shit. So, like, I don't really need that. Like, I'm going to give back to the younger talent. I don't need to be this giant superstar because, again, I'm already so, like Kevin Scott said, cartoonish in a way. Like, from the moment of Survivor Series when he first comes, he's this larger than life type person that just stuck the fuck around. It was almost phenomenal. So I thought they missed chances to quote unquote pass the torch. Like if he would have lost to anybody, it should have been somebody like Bray Wyatt rather than Lesnar. Wyatt was the guy who had all the things on the mic, could do everything in the ring, carry promos, did everything.
Lesnar got his push, but just because of like people like Bob Backlund and what's his name, Kurt Angle, and like there's a lot of people, especially with huge wrestling backgrounds. Bobby Lashley is another one with a huge wrestling background. Like there's a lot of people that were like, oh man, we should really get Lesnar in here. That's like saying you need Goldberg. Like, you don't need Goldberg. Nobody needs Goldberg.
No.
You know what made me mad about Goldberg, though? If you remember, was it WCW or NWA he was in? I couldn't remember. But when he came to WWE, he got his ass kicked. I mean, he got his ass kicked by, like I don't know, hosts or feature. I mean, not even nobody's getting his ass kicked. I was like, this is a joke, man. You bring him in here.
I remember being a kid and watching Goldberg matches, and every week it got more and more ridiculous. So it'd be 1 week, it'd be this guy has won 91 matches in a row, and then the next week, this guy has won 115 matches in a row. And I'm just
all 3 seconds long.
What they had down, what WCW had down with Goldberg, I'm sorry for the interruption there, but the what they had down, they had 2 things down with him, right? They had a hell of an opening entrance music.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And they made it very
cinematic.
Okay. They had a lot of good theater. They had perfect camera angles on the guy when he's coming out to the whole idea, right?
A lot of the
build-up was perfect. The character, where if you want to create an unbeatable character, and it's been done before in like movies and stuff, you know, you can name all the tropes if you like. What they did was you made this unbeatable kind of character, and which is fine. You know, that's perfectly fine. What you needed to do, though, instead of testing out how this guy can go in the long match against like a Steven Regal type, what you needed was a charismatic person to outsmart Goldberg. That's what happens in every movie. Normally, you know, you have this unbeatable force, and now they're outwitted by a smarter person, and you have to eventually turn Goldberg heel somehow. But he's already kind of heel-ish just by never losing, where you're like, hey, we got to root for the underdog. A Chris Jericho at the time could have been the perfect solution to because they had the Jericho.
You brought up what did you bring up there just a few minutes ago? The English guy there. What was his name?
Oh, Steven Regal. Yeah,
Steven Regal. Now, this is what shocked me. I would have never, as a kid, seen Hunter Hearst Helmsley in his jockey shorts and his stupid little wand thing becoming what he became today. Because he reminds me of Hunter Hearst Helmsley or Sheamus or somebody. He's like just a fucking joke. But look what he became. Like, he's the dude. You know what I mean?
So Hunter Hearst Helmsley was given this like frat boy kind of thing with Degeneration X, which is fine. He shortened up the name instead of Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H, and you know, Shawn Michaels. He borrowed Shawn Michaels' personality basically. He took that charisma and they played in a nice little comical way with each other to give him an even bigger push. And then when they were just like, hey, Hunter, why are you having sex with that man over there? And he's like, this is my wife, China. You know, this is not a man. Like, are you sure that's not a man?
But did you notice that Stephanie McMahon went from looking like a woman to looking like a man too, and she got with him? Like,
you're right. That's what maybe he did an over testosterone steroid transfer. You know, I don't know.
He must have been sad to see Razor Ramon leave. Hey, I go back old school, man. I like Ravishing Rick Rude before he died. Jake the Snake Roberts, that type of shit, you know. Papa Django, when he first came out, he never spoke, and that was for me being younger. I was like, this is kind of badass. He just come out and just decimate everybody.
Time out there, but remember what Papa Shango became then, don't you?
Kama.
No, I knew he used to be someone else until he started putting the face makeup on.
He was Kama after that, right?
No.
He was the Godfather.
The Godfather.
The Godfather.
Him and his pimps.
The whole train.
He had the whole train. That's right. Yeah.
And they needed those kind of characters. They wanted to check them off because right when the Godfather was on break, here they introduced Val Venus because why not, right? You needed those you needed those kind of you needed those players. You needed everybody to kind of play their role, sort of thing.
Well, you remember at a certain point, WCW told Undertaker, "You ain't going to be nothing."
Yep.
They told Triple H, "You ain't going to be nothing."
Yeah.
Now they're running shit.
For as many misses that that the WCW had, they really did have something when it came to the lightweight division.
Man, they had some of the youngest. I remember being a kid watching those cruiserweights and watching the Psychosis and Rey Mysterio and
Yeah, their
Juventud
Lucha
Guerrero.
Libre division was
La
amazing.
Parka was a fun character.
Laparca, Eddie Guerrero, man, growing up watching those, they had a lot. I mean, again, you had a young Chris Jericho at the time. WCW had a lot of young talent that they really did fumble. I mean, like between the Rey Mysterio unmasking, which was just
big. That's
Think
big.
about this, and this is shocking being a half a century old. Think about how old Owen Hart was when he fell from the. I watched that on pay-per-view when he fell. Boom.
Yeah.
He was only like 20 something, I think. I don't even think he was 30 yet. Speaking of Owen Hart, what did you think about the Montreal screw job? Do you think that was the proper way to hand the torch, or do you think he should have just beat him fair and square?
I think Bret Hart should have acted like a professional and done one or two things. Just vacate the belt if you don't want to lose and say the end, right? Or lose the way that it was written for you to do so. When I get it that you can't have a guy go to WCW with the WWF belt while still being the last reigning champion. You can't have that happen if you're Vince McMahon. So worst case scenario, whatever, how do you fix a fixed fight, Bret Hart? How do you do that? Bret Hart kind of
you can't change your mind halfway through.
So he's kind of a weird guy. When Owen Hart did die, Bret Hart's reaction was like, yeah, we all miss Owen. It was a bad thing that happened, and things happen in this business. And Ric Flair had a really nice take on that. Ric Flair was like, why aren't you in tears? This is your brother. Ric Flair's reaction to Bret Hart's lack of reaction over his brother passing away was more accurate in my opinion. I'm sorry.
He did loving what he did, and this is
now
sometimes the way that it
the
goes.
British Bulldog their cousin? Wasn't the British Bulldog their cousin?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all related.
Brother-in-law. He married Bret's sister.
That's what it is.
The Hart Foundation. Yeah. Now they had something going there, the Jim Neidhart thing, that beard sort of thing. But but you see where we're going there. Wrestling doesn't have this anymore. They've forced people into groups without dialogue. And how do you even do it? They give 5 people a microphone and only
I'll only speak for WWE on that. I watch a lot of independent wrestling still. I watch a lot of New Japan and stuff like that. Listen, I hate when certain people go to WWE because they don't let them be what got them to the level they were on the indies. They repackage them so they can make money off them, which I get. I understand. I get the money part of it. But there's a majority of guys like John Moxley got the promote he got.
I think what we got to see during COVID was how bad the actual performers are without a crowd there.
Yeah.
If there's 0 people there, if there's 0 people in the audience, don't look around and go with your fucking arms. There's nobody there, dude. There's nobody there. Like,
here we go.
Did you notice them shows when they were doing that during COVID? It sounded like you were at a house show, like in your high school gym. You heard the
they pumped in the audio. They pumped in an audio from a crowd.
Oh my god! I remember how many times they had to filter the audio for WWE because they were booing the shit out of Roman.
Yeah.
For whatever they were booing the shit, and WWE had to either mute it or they had to tone down the volume.
If anybody could have taken a break, it's the people that aren't really fighting.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there, like they're like, well, what about WWF? It's like, what the fuck are you? What? They're like, yeah, we need to get in the ring.
I could have dealt without that for a little bit. I mean,
according to this here, your fights aren't real. Oh no, but they are.
You know what kills me about that? It seems like since COVID, the storylines were lacking before COVID, but they drastically took a major downturn. And the choreography of these shots, I mean, every once in a while you might catch it with bad cameras back in the 80s and 90s, like they didn't really kick them, where you see them chop their chest to make the kick sound.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers were kicking from 8 feet away, not even coming close to contact, and they're falling down like they farted and it blew them over or some shit.
Yeah, like COVID
I've
made
seen
all
so
of their
many
moves
boxers
worse.
now, and it makes me absolutely
Well,
Because they had to stay 6 feet away. That's why they weren't doing it. They're like,
It's the COVID kick.
phantom punch.
with this whole COVID thing, everybody, all you guys forgot to mention one big name from wrestling, and he was probably the biggest draw over the last 20 years.
Wait, you
And-
can't see him now, can you?
Well, yeah. Here's the exact thing about him. He doesn't know how to wrestle. He doesn't know how to act. When COVID came, he was never nowhere to be found doing anything, but he was still drawing the money. And Tony already knows who it is. It's yeah.
I heard he only gave $900,000 to send Tennessee flood victims.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
What
What a scumbag.
Did you ever
No,
notice?
but you know what?
when
You know
they
what the
do-
funny thing is here? I have a list of the 10 most hated wrestlers of all time, right?
I'll go through them. I'll tell you if I like them or not.
Guess who hits number 10, by the way?
He's
John
down the
Cena
wall.
himself. John
I
Cena.
thought it would be at least top 3.
I thought it would have been
John
top 3.
Cena hits number 10, of course, as one of the most hated by other wrestlers.
By other
Any
wrestlers.
division.
This is funny.
Oh, it's the next
Now,
one, man.
Fun fact, he is the only wrestler who has done more Make-A-Wish Foundation stuff in his career than any other wrestler in history.
Yep. Combined. He's done more
Combined.
than any other wrestler combined. He's done more Make-A-Wish than the whole WWE roster.
Now, did he make himself a movie career?
Yeah, Batman.
Did he
Yeah.
make himself a music career?
No.
Not so much. Yeah, not so much. But number 9 is actually Killer Kowalski.
Yeah,
And he had a huge reputation for hurting people, like
Yes.
physically hurting people.
hurting people in the ring. Yep. And that's the reason why other wrestlers didn't like wrestling with them.
Number 8, CM Punk.
Oh boy.
I never got the.
You know
interest
what?
in that.
I've never really been a fan of CM Punk. I look at his size, his build, and I even sit there like back when Mike Tyson was 18 kicking ass. We always had that conversation. Would you get in the ring with Mike Tyson for $1 million? And you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I would. CM Punk, I even now at 50 years old think I could kick his ass. And so he's not built. He's not nothing. I don't know.
Well, I like to call him CM Hurts because that's all he's been the last 2 years.
That's
He's
true.
basically he's basically the whiny emo kid version that turned into an adult. And he's like, I don't make a lot of money a week. It's like, dude, you work 18 hours a week. Yeah, and I don't make a lot of money. It's like, you could work more. You could pick up more shifts, or they could pay me more. You suck at work. Whenever you're here, you do nothing. That's not the point. I do nothing because they don't pay me to do anything. But you have no skills. We all know a person kind of like CM Punk.
He's the John Cena polar opposite. John Cena's on one end, CM Punk is on the other end.
John Cena played the Marine and then like the Marine 2, and you're like,
Yeah.
really arranged there.
Look, let me get through this list. This list because it's a long list. Number 7, Maurice Vachon. I don't know if you've ever seen him or know who he is. He was in the old AWA.
Mad Dog Vachon was his name. He had
his name was Mad Dog. Mad Dog.
Yeah.
But he would sharpen his fingernails into daggers
And
and actually like
Scratch people's
stab
backs
people.
and stuff. Yep.
They leave red marks or blood coming up at welts. I remember that.
Number 6 is Hot Roddy Piper.
I don't know how people hated him because even back in the day, I always liked a good guy, bad guy fight, and he was always funny when he was fighting everybody.
It was kind of
You know
He's
the
very
reason
stiff. That's why they didn't like working with him.
He kind of reminded me of Shep of the Three Stooges because he'd always do this shit when he was going. and to hit somebody.
Do you remember his later promos from the WCW when he was like on his way out, where his promo?
Oh yeah.
What's wrong there, Hogan? You a little girl? Are you a homosexual? Like what? Hold on.
Oh my God! And that
You
stupid movie
suck
that
on a
came out
dick.
where he put
Hey,
the
speaking of
glasses
that-
on to
speaking
see
of
the
that, though.
aliens. Remember that? The glasses and the aliens. What the hell was that movie?
Yeah.
They live.
I
live.
watched it.
Yeah. That was a great.
Yeah.
No, I like that movie. It was perfectly cast. It was exactly what it was supposed to be. I'm sorry, Tony. Continue on with the list there, my man.
That's all right. Number 5 actually is Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan, number 5.
You
Super-
know what happened there.
That's
Other
because-
wrestlers
That's
got
because
on there.
Hulk
Like,
Hogan
you were
didn't know how to
really good.
wrestle, and a lot of people were worried about Hogan hurting somebody in the ring because
Yeah,
some people claimed that he didn't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch.
Yeah,
No,
and
you know
he-
what? No, you know what the problem is? They didn't like him because he got his ass beat by a 5'4" guinea.
that too. But he's very stiff and just wouldn't sell anything, and that's how you hurt other people.
Yeah.
Especially early in his career, too.
That was
Yeah.
the part of
He got a
that was
lot
a
of
part
pushing.
of his
He got a lot of
his
pushing.
signature thing though, like the Hulk up, like the
Yeah.
you know, sort of thing. And I don't know. If not for Hulk Hogan, the damn business would be where it's
Well, I
at.
think it's the typical David versus Goliath when it was him
Oh,
versus
yeah, he
Andre
gets
the
to-
Giant.
He
That
gets
type
to
of.
do that he
Yeah, it
deserves.
was a told story. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Number 4.
Number 4 definitely rounds up Nikolai Volkov.
No, I remember
That
him. Yep.
Russian.
I remember that.
He was a dirty ass wrestler. They call him the let me see here. Despite turning face against the first Gulf War, Volkov is still associated with the evil Russian persona he perfected so well. But yeah, they hated the way you wrestled, which was
All right,
horrible.
where's the Iron Sheik? It's coming.
Number 3, Buddy Rogers as the original Nature Boy. Buddy Rogers
Nature
never
Boy.
cared that pro wrestling fans thought of him. He thought he was great and did nothing to hide the fact, which irritated his fellow wrestlers. He thought that he was the king shit.
He thought he thought he should have his own locker room and everything. This was back in the 50s.
Yeah.
Back in the 50s, yeah. He hated. He used to like shit all over promoters, really bad. And they didn't want to. They didn't want to put him in, but he was like I guess he was a draw of some sort.
It's such a draw. You got to put him in. You don't have a choice. Like,
Yeah.
So in other words, you're telling me that the Playboy did the Vince McMahon thing before Vince McMahon did it to the intern, huh?
Yes,
oh.
that's true. Number 2 rounds up the Iron Sheik.
Yep, there it is.
Born Hussein Khosrow Ali Vazari in Taranayan, the Iron Sheik famously ended his 6-year reign of Bob Backlund. He wrestled briefly in the WWE from 79 to 80 after he took the name the Iron Sheik, of course. But
Why did they
horrible wrestler.
A lot of guys in the locker
Horrible
room liked him. So
Yeah, terrible wrestler. Great character. Terrible wrestler.
great character.
Nice
horrible
slippers.
wrestler. Yeah.
Nice slippers.
And number 1, believe it or not, is the All-American Sergeant Slaughter.
Really?
Wow, that
he wasn't a wrestler.
You know who I
Wasn't
thought number
wrestler
1
by
would have
any
been? I thought
that?
number 1 would have been Triple H for that reign that he'd always bring out the sledgehammer for like that decade and beat everybody no matter what, and he always get away with it. I thought it would have been Triple H.
Yeah, Triple
I've
H
such a
was
dislike
kind of
Triple H.
like if he was a basketball player, he'd be like a Dwayne Wade type, where you're like, I get it,
Ooh.
you're good, but you kind of need.
I see. I like the comparison because I'd say it like when there were other people, you were never really the guy. Like you were the guy when Stone Cold got hurt and Rock was out, or Rock went to Hollywood, Stone Cold retires. Now you're the guy, but here comes John Cena and Randy Orton. You're not really the guy.
It's kind of like comedy, where we've seen it happen before, Brian, right? Where you say you know who should be headlining a show, right? And then you see the person that put it together. They say, I have at least an hour's worth of stuff, and you're like, you've been doing this for like 1 month, and it's not even good. They put themselves to headline anyways. That's what Triple H kind of reminds me of. And then you're like, wait a second, how did he get this gig? And it's like, oh, he's fucking the bar owner's daughter, and it's. We're all just happy to get paychecks right now. The guy's good though.
And it's like, I mean, like again,
That's
like
how
you
Sparky got the gig here.
did. He was having sex with both of us one day, and
So where would you personally rank someone like a Ted DiBiase or somebody like that back in
oh
his,
man,
in his
DiBiase
genre?
is as far as
You know how to
characters
wrestle
and
all and
acting
stuff.
and acting believable as those characters, you have to go top 15 all around.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going through a long
Hey,
list
if
of people.
Donald Trump had a wrestling character, I think Ted DiBiase would be him.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
that
I
was
agree with that.
If he couldn't win his own heavyweight belt, he'd make one for himself.
like
And then call that a belt.
there are aspects to wrestling where you really go. I'm sorry, Tony. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say wrap it up pretty soon.
We're wrapping. Yeah,
We're already there.
we're there. Yeah.
You're just done. That's it. You're going on our tirade for a second.
Okay.
I don't want to stop you.
I don't know
So
how we
what
ended
I'm
up
saying,
in
what I'm saying is there are wrestlers that are so adaptable to their own characters, such as The Rock. He can get into Rocky Maivia mode, but then he isn't that person actually. Hulk Hogan going with the whole brother thing, bro. You can't distinguish Terry Bollea from Hulk Hogan. They're both intertwined as the same person.
Yeah.
DiBiase,
Well, before
like,
you guys head out, what are your feelings on Lex Luger or Sting?
Lex Luger is about as Lex Luger should have hooked up with Gypsy Rose because they're both kind of murderers, right? Aren't they kind of both murderers?
Ooh.
Good one.
I mean,
Yeah.
just throwing it out there, like everybody's like, "Oh, I'm so happy for Gypsy Rose." It's like, but didn't she also murder? If you are sticking up for Gypsy Rose, next person to stick up for Charlie Manson, and I wouldn't be mad at you. I would just enjoy the transparency or the actual equal fairness. Because Charlie Manson, well, he didn't murder, but he did find some people that kind of got a little rambunctious one day. And
I would say about Lex Luger. I don't know if you guys are car guys, but like he's like a really great a brand spanking new like 71 Charger, right? And you're like, oh man, what's under the hood of that Charger? Like, how does it perform? And they're like, yeah, we put a Honda 4-cylinder in it. Like, that's how well it performs in this bit. All show, no go.
That's what McMahon would do. He'd find these bodybuilders, and he would say, I got a bodybuilder here, and whether they're on steroids or not, as long as they look good, I'll get the bodybuilder in there. We'll take them to a couple acting classes or whatever, and then they'll figure out some technique in the ring one way or another. It was a workable formula to a degree until, they end up hitting the wall real quick. Ultimate Warrior was good for maybe 6 minutes in the ring, and then he was fucking worn out, had nothing
blown
left.
up and terrible. Yep.
Well, if you're talking about that, then I'll have to give it up.
Wait. I got to add one thing in there because it was brought to our attention by somebody. I'm not going to name names because you know what? We've had guests on here from all different aspects of wrestling and entertainment. But somebody gave us some enlightening things about Ziploc bags full of blow sitting in the hotel rooms.
Wow.
Pancaking each other.
I don't know if you're talking dedication, if you want to base on strict, pure dedication to the industry, I would have to go with whatever you want to call him, Mankind, Cactus Jack. I think out of all the wrestlers, he sacrificed the most. Just in the crazy shit
I want to hit your Sting point real quick because the thing about Sting that pissed me off so much, and it goes back to that fucking Triple H. You robbed all of us of the match we fucking wanted, Triple H.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted you in Sting. Nobody. We wanted Sting. We versus Taker, and you selfish bastard pulled a goddamn.
Visually, the poster is going to look better than the actual match, though.
Yeah, it will, but
I'm just saying, like, Sting's now Taker's kind of, slow and maniacal in the ring, which is fine, right? You put him against somebody quicker, and you have a little bit of you have some fun going on. It's like watching somebody trying to chop down a tree when it comes down to it. But Sting's technique or lack of technique, his best days were like 2 years into Surfer Sting, and then Scarecrow Sting, he was just there. And it's almost like when him and Hogan got in the ring, they were like, hey, which one of us is going to be the one doing the most work? And they're like, hey, how about none of us?
Yeah.
We'll just go from there. That
Are
match.
you talking about Starrcade 93?
Talking about Starrcade 93.
Exactly.
Yeah, even I don't want to like nerd out, but like if you got Sting, I think Triple H did that for a reason, where he said to himself, you know what, it's gonna be real tough. We're gonna tell them to do a half an hour match, and 14 minutes into it, we're gonna be sleeping, sort of thing.
I can understand that from that
Sting
point.
versus Undertaker is great in a video game if you're fighting off in WWE, the video game where you're like.
I'd say if you went with like Cactus Jack or Mankind for dedication, then I'd probably follow it with Edge and Christian, Dudley Boys, that type of table ladders, chairs match, some of the crazy stuff they did. I will give props to Vince McMahon's son from falling off the very first time way up in high mezzanine and missed the box and everything, and probably broke his back for all we know. Yeah. Best one was Mankind going through the cage all the way down to the mat. I thought that killed him. A fall like that, landing on the back of his shoulders, I thought it killed him.
Unconscious. He shoved his teeth right through his
I was 8 years old, and that was my dad took me to Pittsburgh to watch that. And listen, 8 years old at that point, I'm like, oh my God, we just witnessed a murder. Daddy.
Well, that's the thing, though. That's what made it so cool, because you're like, the Undertaker is going to kill this guy. And now you have the Undertaker hanging out with Vince McMahon at an older age, where you know that McMahon's getting so old when he's bringing his Undertaker everywhere.
Yeah. One of the most memorable moments I had was when the Undertaker disappeared and they thought he was dead. And then all of a sudden, I can't remember who he was wrestling.
Oh, did he go through the ring?
The mat ripped open. Like he took a knife and cut it open, came up through the mat and pulled the guy right down into the mat. And they couldn't. That guy was like on vacation for 2 months. You didn't see him for 2-3 months, man. He was gone. Oh, good shit.
Big shout out to Wilfredo Otero. Thanks for watching, man. We're gonna wrap up this shindig. Kevin, I want you to ask the question that we always ask every guest.
We have to
every time they come on our show.
So, Eric,
yes, sir.
You have just started off your stand-up comedy career. You're still going at it, but I'm gonna ask you: is being on the Podguyz podcast probably the peak of your career?
Yeah, so by at this point, by far, but it's the peak. We're peaking here.
There it is.
You know what I'm saying? So still climbing the mountain right now. This is where
no. This is it. This is your high point. This does not get better than this.
This is it. It's not going to get much better. Well, fuck it. It's
all
great.
Downhill from here.
Nah, well, I live great. You know, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. So
you're going to be in prison and say, I remember that time I was on the podcast.
Yeah,
that was better than this. And the guy's like, listen, man, I'm going to need you to get on this. It's like, all right,
Oh, whatever.
Eric, believe it or not, we're only about 2 hours north of you in Northeast Pennsylvania.
Okay, where you guys at?
Scranton, Wilkes-Barre.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, we're basically where Joe Biden said he was growing up. Scranton.
Yeah, where he lived for almost his entire life.
Yeah, one of my good comedian friends is from he's from Scranton. He lives out here now. But a good big comedian guy named Jay Yoder. He's been great.
I know Jay.
Yeah, Jay's great, very good friend of mine, very, very good guy. I love Jay. I know he's doing a show out in Wilkes-Barre, I think in the next couple of weeks. So
Eric, how about you? What do you do in the next couple of weeks? Do you have anything planned? You got any shows coming up?
Yeah, I'm hosting a fundraiser for this foundation. I've been doing this show for about 3 years now. It's our
What's the name of the foundation, sir?
The foundation's called Reuniting Family Bail Fund. It helps people get bail before pretrial incarceration. So, especially for petty crimes, shit like shoplifting or something like that.
So are we going regardless of guilt?
This before guilt, under the presumption of innocence. We are presumed innocent.
Yeah, of course.
Helps
I
people,
didn't do shit. But I need money.
So yeah, hosting that foundation. I got another couple shows that haven't been announced yet, but I got a theater show for a play called what the hell are they called? But it's basically it's a bunch of fat comedians that are getting together and telling jokes. So I'm gonna be on that lineup. We're probably gonna break that theater stage.
So if you secretly like to fat shame, but you want to just go to a show.
That's us and a bunch
If
of
you like
fat
watching fat guys fuck, please go to that show.
That too. There is a website for that. There's a website for that. And
Please laugh.
Did you see Kevin James prove that he can still be mediocre after weight loss?
Yes, that's very much so. And then in April, I'm starting my own showcase. I'll be doing a once monthly showcase every month for comedians out here in outside of the Philadelphia area. So just we're gonna keep working.
Are you in the King of Prussia area, Chester?
Yeah.
Or
I'm in the King of Prussia area. Yeah.
Nice.
There are some white privileged gated communities around that fucking King of Prussia, man.
Yeah,
Man, yes, there is.
Been there, done that, and you're like, wow, this is like, they're like, sir,
You're talking to
almost...
Eric Preston. He has a 750 credit score right now. He's okay.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me through until I did a 23andMe test. They were just
I was born with a 750, and then they found out I was half black and took it straight to 550.
They ripped it right in half.
You should have just told me you're from Iraq, man. I would have fucking done that.
Yeah, I was trying. I was like, damn, they were just like, no, that's a colored baby.
You know, like, I'm an Iraqi war veteran.
Right.
They trained me.
Wasn't a good thing. So, having to rebuild my credit score from the age of 3 just isn't isn't ideal, but it's what it is.
Oh, you should have put the spotlight in at a young age. Lighten you up.
Let's wrap this shit up, folks. How about you, Brian? What do you got going on? What do you need to plug, sir?
I'm not plugging anything right now. I'm taking a little three-month hiatus till I crank things back up. So I'm gonna enjoy it.
Nice. Stick more.
Burbs McFarlane ain't gonna be on the Dirty Soap with you guys again.
What's that?
Burps McGee or whatever the hell he's going by now. He ain't gonna be on the Dirty Soap with you guys again.
I don't know if Burps McGee is gonna be on. We're probably gonna have like Trump's Touch Hole or whatever. I think he's scheduled to come on.
Nice.
He's always got some good names, man. I'll tell you. I try to mix up my name a little bit. I just go Lee Brian Lee. We're just censorship's a bitch, man.
Yeah,
That's all I got to say about that. It's starting to come around now.
I don't know.
But maybe if I start talking about Taylor Swift, I'll get some recognition.
Show.
I'll start hashtagging Taylor Swift. It's me. It's
mine. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Those teenage white girls will have you under a bus. Don't you fucking do it.
You will get white girl canceled in a minute.
Yes, those teenage white girls will fucking put you
we all
under
know
the bus.
how many preteen white girls listen to Brian Yox's comedy. They're all I don't think he's gonna really see much of a drop.
He did a show at the Castle once, and they all threw Stanley Cups at him.
Brian's not gonna get off stage and be like, "Where are all those 15 to 25-year-old women here?"
Nah, my crowd usually 40 and up. That's my crowd. 40. I actually do well with 70. I had a little bit of a good host
well in retirement homes.
I called people out. There was a lady that had a walker. You ever seen walkers? It's got the 4 legs at the bottom, but it's real flat to the bottom.
Tennis balls, yeah.
So I played the song "Whoop There It Is," and that came out in 1989. Mm-hmm. And I told the ladies to dance or whatever, just because the ladies like to have a good time. Show them ladies. Not one person got up on stage, got up and danced around or nothing. And I looked over at one lady over a walker, and I go, "Honey, you didn't even get up and dance. You guys are showing me up or something like that." She goes, "I'm blah, blah, blah." I go, "Don't give me that shit. Don't act like you weren't flicking your bean," because that was 35 years ago. So if you're 71 years old right now, you'd be 34 back then. Either you're stuck behind the oven flicking your bean or you're out dancing at the club. Which one is it? Shit, don't let her fool you. That walker, she probably flips that upside down and plays musical chairs with it. Fucking place went crazy, dude. Crazy.
I got a great bit about how, all right, so the way it kind of goes is, my kids, I'm in the generation of Netflix and chill. That's what we have. My kids, they all have their own different things. So my kids have one of my sons. He has Disney Plus and Thrust. He's got HBO Max and Ass Max.
Wait, what are they fucking to though? Because Disney, I can't put a background movie on with Disney and be like,
so okay,
hilarious. This is where Ariel starts to sing.
So they got HBO Max and Ass Max. There's Tubi and Doomy. And I'm like, man, like my kids are just like really going crazy. Like it's Parma for Netflix and chill. And then like my grandma looks at me and goes, you kids in your Netflix and chilling. I said, Grandma, you be quiet. You fuck Grandpa in the back of a Bel Air at a drive-in movie theater. I don't want to hear nothing from you. And she's like, yeah, that's how it is.
Did she look at you like, how are you there?
He was like,
time
Grandpa
traveler.
told us. I know everything. Like,
That's how Brian Lee Yachts created that hat that he's wearing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All right,
he
let's
was,
wrap this shit up, folks. Let's wrap this shit up. Sparky, if you were looking for us, where would you find us, sir?
You can find us on every single major streaming platform, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Deezer, Castbox, Pocket Cast, GeoReel, Facebook Live Video.
You could just Google us.
Google
We're
it.
all over the place.
Google them.
If you want to
them.
get on this show, just get in touch with me. Touch me in every way.
He means with his mouth, people. Not Brian Yachts' dirty sock. Don't touch him.
No dirty socks from Brian Yachts.
Hey,
please.
Eric, before we
Yes,
go,
sir.
where can people find you? What's your handles? You're on Facebook? You're on...
Best place to find me is on IG at Eric Preston Comedy. You find me there on Instagram. You know, guys, follow me, message me, tell me you guys love the show. Check out some shows. I'm trying to get to an area near you to come talk about my fucking kid, exploit my kids for money. That's what I'm doing at this point in my life. I'm exploiting.
Yeah,
I'm exploiting my kids for money. Very much like Taylor Swift parents. Very, very much like that. Just trying to get to that level of richness. You know, these kids' dick jokes got to go somewhere.
guys, we are the Podguyz Podcast. Make sure you tune in every Monday, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Tony Kaz, followed by
Kevin Neary here.
of course, the ever-loving Picasso.
Sparky.
Les Sparky. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you check out Eric Preston. Check him out on Instagram, Facebook, all of the fun stuff. Check out Brian Yachts. You'll see him fucking gallivanting in New York all the time. He is a professional streetwalker. You'll see him on Staten Island. Remember, $5 isn't $5 anymore. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night.